Hi, welcome to the garden. This show is all about gifts and giving. And we're going to start off with me giving away some shungite. And if you missed it, Andrea and I on Lilac Lantern a week ago, we did a show on stones from the stars. And I talked about shungite. And this is a little piece of shungite. Stones are one of the things where size really doesn't matter. Sometimes just having it around you makes the difference. So shungite is the show we did was all about stones from the stars, and it's all about crystal formations that are on the earth because of meteorites, or in the case of shungite, they believe it's a small asteroid that hit the earth near the Shun River in somewhere in northern China. And I think it's like a Russia-China border. Anyway, it was 2.3 billion years ago, which means CNN was not there covering this. I mean, there's no coverage. They do whatever scientists do to figure out how old things are. And shungite's very fascinating. It's 99.9% carbon. The other 1% is made up of all of the minerals that are natural to this planet. They form the way the crystals are when you get to their most basic form. They're buckyballs, which were named after Buckminster Fuller. He's the guy who we think of as inventing the geodesic dome. The geodesic dome is half of his bucky thing. And shungite's a natural filter. It filters out radiation. You can run water through it, and it filters water and gets a really bad scummy stuff out of it. And it filters energy when it's around people. So if you'd watched that show, you could have gotten on the drawing list. And 3 people wrote me. Actually, 20 some people sent me an email, and they are the winners are Joe Ellen, Fay, and Michele. And I did do the draw on that on Monday, and I used my usual system, which is my random number generators. I asked my grandchildren to give me 3 numbers between here and here, and that's about as random as you can get as my grandchildren. So these were the 3 people who won. They've already been notified by email, and I'm getting their mailing addresses. So I do that occasionally. I like to give away little bits of what I know, not just through the videos, but also share the crystals and share the things that I have. Now we're going to get to the other part of this, which is a while back, a lady named Linda sent me this gorgeous blanket, which I cannot do justice to. It has sun and a moon and rockets and planets, sort of fits with my other thing. It's got Saturn on there. It's got rockets and things. It's made out of this wonderful plushy fabric. I don't know what you call this, but it's wonderful, warm, and huggy. And I keep it on my knitting chair. And I have been trying since I got it a while ago to figure out how to display this, because nothing pisses me as badly as someone who gets something beautiful and they don't display it well. But I draped it over my bed. I hung it on a wall. And it's hard for me to admit this, but it's true. I had a degree in broadcast film. I knew how to run cameras, and I've edited film, and I've run TV cameras back when TV cameras were bigger than me. I mean, like, I had to jump up to get the scope down. Those old things you see from the 60s, those old TV things. And I was never that good of a photographer. I never had the eye for it, but I had the eye once someone had put the images together. I could edit. I was really good at that. So Linda, thank you. And I did send you a thank you note, and I understand this was designed by your daughter. I don't know. It didn't say in the note whether they make these for a living or what they do. If you'd be interested in something that looks like that, and trust me, it looks 1,000 times better than what I just showed you. It's really gorgeous. You can contact me at crystaldirections.nancyjean@gmail.com, which is below in the comments section, in the description. and I'll be glad to help you. And you wonder, why is this woman so rudely turning away from the screen? Well, I'm rudely turning away from the screen because I also got another gift this week. I got this yesterday. It's just that pretty, and it went together with my giving away gifts. So there's a theme. I'm trying. Okay. This is what I got. This is a sample of what I got. And I got them from a lovely lady named Laura. And she lives in Missouri, I believe, no, Kansas, where she can get over to Arkansas. And some of these pieces come from Arkansas. This particular thing, you're probably looking at like, why do you have a rock in the middle of those gorgeous, gorgeous crystals? Because this is a hagstone. It's got a hole in it. These are extremely rare. There's a beach in Scotland I know of where it makes lots of hagstone because the limestone or whatever stone is native to there. It gets these little things, but this is a totally natural hole. There was a weak spot, and sometimes they're like nice and round, more or less round like this one. Sometimes they're irregular. They also can be called fairy stones, and they can be made by clay or other things, and they just sort of form into funny little shapes that seem to have a great deal of meaning, but people thought they were made by the fairies. So that's a fairy stone or a hag stone. I'd known this more as a hag stone than a fairy stone until she sent it to me. I did not have one. I knew about them. What I thought of as a fairy stone was this kind of a geode from amethyst that has pink and stuff in it. She also sent me this, which I thought was absolutely gorgeous and great fun and a beautiful piece of amethyst. Then we're going around to, these are some points she and her father found at a thing called Wegener, and I'm going to put a link to their Facebook page. It's a mine. It's a quartz mine in Arkansas, in Mount Ida, Arkansas. Mount Ida has some of the most perfect clear quartz known to man. But she sent me these beautiful pieces, and this is a really unusual piece for quartz because it's got some sort of straight edges, but it's sort of quartz mixed with some other stuff, and it's smooth and it's very glass-like. It almost looks like it could have been glass slag, but it's not. It's quartz. When you touch it, you can feel it. You can feel the temperature difference. It's not glass. And this is another piece of milky quartz that comes from the same place. Now, this piece that I'm going to talk about now, when I opened this up and I saw it, I thought, oh, I know what this is. This you can just reach down in a river in Arkansas and find this stone, and it's a conglomerate of different. It's quartz. It didn't quite make it all. It's quartz, but it's quartz. It didn't quite make it to being the pretty points and all the things people think of as quartz. But what I liked about it was years ago I went on we rented a houseboat and took my two older children who are now in their 40s on the houseboat, and my son was in scouting at the time and he needed to get his fishing badge, and so he would be out and he would try to catch fish in the lake, and the lake was full of fish. And his sister, who she likes water, she likes swimming pools, she's not particularly fond of natural water, and every time she'd get in the water, the fish would all come up and get around her and her I think it was her bright pink swimsuit. But anyway, she'd come screaming out of the water because there were so many fish. And meanwhile, her brother was 10 yards away, casting into the lake, trying to get a fish. He did finally catch it, and he did get his badge, but he wanted to know what was the deal that they all followed her around. Anyway, this is another piece of sort of milky quartz that's typical of what you can pull out of the mines and there. And then this is the one that's just gorgeous. You can see there's lots of little mini points and beginnings of crystals there. And then it has this lovely sharp point at the top that's crystal clear. And you can see that it's just crystal clear. And it's got a lot of little, I used to call them inclusions. I have since learned that those sorts of little funny lines and things that are in the quartz. Sometimes you can actually see another crystal inside a crystal. Those are fascinating, but they're called Elysials, and it's like celestial, but with it without the C. It's celestial. It's celestials. Maybe it's since it's celestial, it's celestials, and they're they're fun. And I have some that each time we go through another major energy shift around the planet, those get deeper and deeper. You can see more of them, but this thing's gorgeous. And I'm going to put it on my cell phone because I found out earlier, this is the best, this side is the best place for it. You can see how perfectly clear this little crystal is. And it's got a perfect little 6-pointed point on the end. Quartz goes into 5 points or 6 points. It can go as high as 7 points. 7 points, I think, are called Tao's, and they're supposed to have some more mystic qualities about them. Here's another piece of clear quartz. I'm trying to keep my fat little fingers out of it as much as I can. But this one at the very top, if I can get it in the light the right way. Yeah, you can see it, I think, there. See those little things that look like clouds that are floating through it? Those are the celestials, and those are the little inclusions that are supposed to make this piece of quartz more blessed. And you can find, this is how clear the quartz is in Arkansas. I've gone up in those mines. I went to the stores. I didn't walk into the mines, but you can go up and actually pull these out of the ground yourself. Now, I'm going to warn you, if you go there, wear clothes you don't ever want to wear anywhere again, because the clay it comes out of is really icky sticky. But then this is also a piece of quartz. And I love it because you can sort of see, if I can get the light right, yeah, I can see the little rainbows that dance across the face of it. And then it's got a just shiny, shiny side that just has sort of some big rainbows. You can see on this one, I want to get the light right. Okay, where it was actually attached to another crystal. And as people took them out, they split. So this was a gift. She just went through and randomly pulled some stones she had, sent them to me. She sent me a beautiful big box of them. This is not all of them, but these are good samples of what she sent, and they are just gorgeous. And I cannot thank Laura enough for that. And then the other gift I'm going to give you today is this. We had a new moon on Wednesday. I'm going to put the camera back up on me because, I mean, my table talking to you is probably not terribly inspiring. We had a new moon on the 11th at the 11th, 13th, yes, and Tuesday, the 12th. And it was, well, which, let's see if I can get my days straight. Thursday, 12th, 11th. Yeah, it was the 11th of May at 3:11 in the PM here, if you were in Central Daylight Time, where I am. And this sets off what we call, for this year, the eclipse cycle. We have the next eclipse is a solar eclipse on May 26th. This last eclipse happened in Taurus. It happened on, in that sign. And the next one will happen in Sagittarius on May 26th. Then we have Thursday, June 10th, we have another solar eclipse in Gemini. Then we have on Friday, November 19th, we have a lunar partial eclipse in Taurus. And then Saturday, December 4th, we have a total solar eclipse in Sagittarius. And I won't bore you with all the astrology. I will tell you where you can go hear people who will discuss the astrology, and they won't bore you. They're not boring. But Dorothy Morgan and Pam Gregory, there's a lot of really good astrologers out there. There's Achuta Baba and a lot of other people who are really, really good. But if you want to go to listen to astrology and not be mind numb by angles and aspects and all that stuff, and not be bombed with charts that you can't understand unless you've studied it, Dorothy Morgan and Pam Gregory both do a really good understanding of astrology on a personal level. They actually tell you how to relate it to your birth chart. So that means going and finding your birth chart. There's a lot of good links to places where you can get a free birth chart drawn, and then you can have it. And if that will maybe get you more interested so you can learn how to work with astrology. But eclipses come in cycles. There'll be like one November 19th, then there'll be one December 4th. They come within 2 weeks of each other. And when I started to research this to make sure that I kind of had the timing on this right, I ran into a phrase I'd never seen before. It says, when will the Chandra Grahan happen? And it was under a thing about the lunar eclipse. And I went, what's the Chandra Grahan? So I typed that in and was immediately taken to the India Daily, which is printed in languages I don't read. And so it just said Chandra Grahan, and then it went into it. And it's Chandra, separate word, Grahan. So finally I broke down and I Googled, what is Chandra Grahan? And that means lunar eclipse. So I was going to find out, I thought it was something special that another culture might view differently under the lunar eclipse. So if you want to see a solar eclipse, it's called the Surya Grahan. And it's Sorygrahan. And I'm sure I'm butchering those words. Please forgive me. I'm trying to say them so a person looking it up in English can find it. But that means solar eclipse. So all they were telling me is, if you want to know about the solar eclipse in the Indian newspaper, and that's what I looked up. So I love to figure out what words really mean. I don't like to leave words hanging out there that I don't understand. Like I said, eclipses come in cycles. They tend to hit certain signs. In researching this for you today, I found out that we're going into a whole flurry being sort of a difficult term for this because they're not happening like woo, 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 woo. It's like it happens. But between Taurus and Scorpio, and that means for people with sun and moon in Scorpio, or ascendant there, or sun and moon or ascendant in Taurus, things are going to be shifting around you a little bit more. But if you go to a real astrologer, they can explain how all that happens. Now, the reason the Taurus Scorpio caught my eye is because I'm a Taurus sun and a Scorpio ascendant. So apparently I'm going to go through a 2-year cycle of having lots and lots and lots of changes. And I find that interesting, fascinating. I will get out my chart. I will see how close they all fall and hit me. I knew that was coming anyway because I have my sun in Taurus and Uranus is in Taurus. And Uranus is, or Uranus, as some people put it, Uranus is the bringer of great change and great disruption. And it's been going through my house. The first time it sort of dipped in and then left. The first time it dipped in my house was when I dyed my hair purple. And I didn't even know that was going on at the time. I was just wandering around, dyed my hair purple, found out, oops, Uranus was on my case. Then it stayed in there until late in the fall. And then I took the trip where I saw the grids. And then immediately after I saw the grids, Uranus went back into Aries where it had been before. And then later that next spring, it came into Taurus and it hasn't left. And it's very slow moving. And it won't leave for like another 5 years, I think. So, and it brings a lot of change and a lot of shifting around you. And boy, have I done that more than I had in a long time. So that's the sort of stuff you can learn by looking at astrology. I will put in links below. I'm going to put the name of a lovely place where Laura found those lovely crystals I showed you, the quartz ones. I don't know where her sister lives. And apparently she finds those hagstones in a river behind her house. And even if I knew where she lived, I wouldn't tell you because I'm not altogether sure she wants people stomping through her garden looking for hagstones. I will put Dorothy contact information for Dorothy Morgan and the Pam Gregory's lovely show she just did on the 2 eclipses, the one we just had and the one that's coming up. So you can kind of maybe look at that, see if it interests you at all. I will not put the link to the Indian newspaper. If you're that interested, you can find it, but I will put the name, those 2 words written out. So if you are interested, you can see them. And I want to thank Linda again for the lovely blanket. I put it on my lap when I'm knitting, and it's just cozy and comfortable. And I've been told by my son that my exits from the shows are way too long. So I'm going to exit here and be finished. And you have a lovely day. And I'm going to record a couple more things. Then I'm going to be in Austin. See, these are my exits are so long. Then I'm going to be in Austin on Tuesday, taping something really, really, really fun that I think you'll enjoy greatly. And I'll explain that all to you at the time. So it gives you stuff to look forward to. Keep good thoughts. Everything's getting better. More people are getting vaccinated. Fewer people are getting sick. Now we can vaccinate the kids, the older kids. And I cannot look forward to, I'm looking totally forward to the time when we can vaccinate my grandchildren too. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe if you're a new person who happens to wander up on my show. And make sure if you like this video, you click the like. I love the comments people give me. They're wonderful, but the likes really kind of help me with YouTube in their hierarchy of needs. And I want to thank Lilac Lantern for Andrea for being generous enough to let me be on her show and to give her people an opportunity to hear about crystals. And I talk about crystals, I talk about numbers, I talk about cards, I talk about all other kinds of extraneous stuff that has to do with living, letting our souls live a better life and cultivating our souls like we do in my garden every day. Anyway, look forward to hearing from you. I am open for readings. All that information is below how to get in touch with me. Thank you so much for joining me today. Goodbye.